Hey everybody, here's Coach Payne with your FitnessGram do's and don'ts for middle schoolers, grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. The physical fitness test for students in California is the FitnessGram. The main goal of the test is to help students in starting lifelong habits of regular physical activity. Everyone will take the test, but results are reported to the state in grades 5, 7, and 9 only. There are standards that go along with this. As you can see, the California state standards for each grade level. Standard 3, students assess and maintain the level of physical fitness to improve health and performance. Basically what it's saying in all of these is that you're going to take the test, you're going to reflect on the test, and you're going to do what is necessary to get better at the test. First thing we're going to talk about is body composition, which is basically your height and your weight. By doing this, we can get what is called your body mass index. Your body mass index is a ratio of your weight to height. We're going to do this by taking your height in feet and inches and record your weight in pounds. Make sure before we do this that you've taken off your shoes. Once this is done, we can help calculate your body mass index. As you can see by this chart, it's based on age. You want to be here in the healthy fitness zone. By plugging this in to any body mass calculator online, or we do have a VO2 max calculator, which I put in Google Classroom last evening, we can get this BMI, which helps us with our VO2 max and let you know how quickly you have to run the mile or how many pacers you have to run. Here in green we have the healthy fitness zone. This is where you want to land in order to pass the BMI. Like we said before, BMI is very difficult to pass. Usually people end up being in the very lean category or the needs improvement category. We're striving to be here in the healthy fitness zone. Although this is not the best test, this is the one that they give us that we have to deal with. Next thing we're going to talk about is aerobic capacity, which is your mile or your pacer. Your mile, we've run it many times this year. It is 4 3/4 laps on the ground, the grass field. Make sure when you start your mile, you don't start too fast. Start at a steady pace so your body can adapt to the work that is coming for it. Walking is permitted, but make sure you limit your walking so that you can get the mile done as quickly as possible. Make sure you report to your teacher to give them your time if they don't get it from you. Next we have the pacer. You've run the pacer, you know we run the 20-meter pacer on the basketball courts. When you're running the pacer, make sure you are completely over the end line when the beep goes off. You are allowed to walk if you can get across the end line before the beep goes off. If you miss one time, you will be warned. If you miss a second time, you will be told you are done from doing the test. We have this handy little spreadsheet that I put in Google Classroom on Thursday night. Basically what this does, you're always asking how quickly do I have to run the mile, or how many pacers do I have to run? We can do that just by plugging this in here. So you each have access to it. You put in here your gender, male or female. I'm going to put a male, age 14, height 5'10". This is the reason why we did height and weight first, so that we could help figure these out. You can do this at home. Weight 160. And then if you notice over here, it shows you exactly what your VO2 max, what your BMI is. And if we actually put in some of these numbers, so for example, you run 25 pacers, over here it tells you your VO2 max, Over here it tells you your VO2 max is 38.8. But if you ran a mile, say you ran a mile in 6:45, your VO2 max would be 51.3, which is over the 42.5, so you would have passed the mile. There's a lot of tinkering that goes along with this. If you need help with this, please let me know, and I will do what I can. We can pull it up in class so that we can punch in some of those numbers if need be. Now, the pacer requirement. We want you to always run more pacers than what it says you need to run. That's why we do the step pacer, to push yourselves to make yourselves better. This again is all based on age, but as you can see, a 12-year-old boy only has to do 23 pacers. A girl only has to do 23 pacers at 12 years old. It's kind of a joke if you ask me, and you guys know that because a lot of you run up in here what a 14-year-old would run. So here are some ideas, but always remember, run as many pacers as you can and don't go by just these numbers. Next area we're going to talk about is abdominal strength and endurance. Curl-ups. Here's a picture of somebody setting up for the curl-up. How to perform the curl-up. Your knees must be bent and feet flat on the floor. Your heels and feet must stay in contact with the mat. Palms flat and fingertips straight. Your fingertips must pass the line. They must go from the tape line to the end of the mat and down every time. Remember, that is 4 inches is all we're trying to travel. Your head touches the ground each time. Your shoulder blades must come up off the ground, and remember, we're only trying to get them off 4 inches so that we can slide our hands the distance needed. Make sure you keep up with the cadence. There is no resting. How many curl-ups do you have to perform? Well, again, it's based on your age. A 12-year-old boy has to do 18 or more. A 13-year-old girl has to do 18 or more. Remember, the maximum, whether you're a boy or a girl, that you can do is 75. Here's an example of somebody who is going to do curl-ups. You notice his fingertips are touching the white line. He will slide them the entire length, the 4 inches, to the end of the mat. His head, he will curl up. He will not come all the way up to his knees. So let's watch him perform this. This is my son Zeke doing these for me.
We'll begin the curl-ups now. Ready? Begin.
Notice how his fingers go. He stops at the top and he stays in contact with the mat. He's up with the cadence. His shoulders are coming up. He is not coming all the way up.
Down 5.
The next area we're going to talk about is upper body strength and endurance, basically your push-ups. Here's a sample of someone doing a push-up. You notice how from their shoulders to their heels, their body is completely straight. This is the down position. You can tell that by the L that is made in their arm. How do you perform a push-up? Well, your hands are underneath your shoulder blade with your fingers stretched out, pointed away from your body. Your legs are straight. You push off the mat until your arms, legs, and back are straight. That would be straight from your shoulders to your heels. When you go down to the down position, your elbows go to the 90-degree angle, which is creating that L that we talked about. And you need to keep up with the cadence. How many push-ups do you need to do? Again, it's based on age. A 13-year-old boy has to do 12 or more. A 13-year-old girl, actually 10 through 15-year-old girls, only have to do 7 or more. Again, my son Zeke is going to help us show how to do a push-up. You notice from his heels all the way up to his shoulders, he is in a straight line. When he goes down, he holds at the bottom until the cadence says to go up, and then he pushes himself up.
We'll now begin the push-up session. Ready? Begin. Down.
He holds himself, he comes up. Body is straight. Walking over here to show you the L. There is the L that we talked about. The L is what you want every time. Next area we're going to talk about is trunk extensor, strength and flexibility, or the trunk lift. This is an example of somebody doing the trunk lift. You notice how their hands are underneath their hips. They are looking straight down at the mat. Their chin is tucked towards their chest. How do you perform the trunk lift? You lie on your stomach, toes pointed. Your toes must stay in contact with the mat the entire time. Hands are underneath your thighs, eyes on the marker, paper clip, or in our case it will just be onto the mat. And when the administrator says go up, you tighten your back up and pull your shoulders up as high as you can. This one's pretty easy to grade. It doesn't matter what age you are, you have to go either between 9 and 12 inches. You can't go any higher than 12 inches to pass, and you can't be any below 9 inches to pass. Okay, here's an example of someone doing it. This is my youngest daughter, Avery. You notice she is laying on her hands. She's looking straight down at the mat. Now, when she is told to go up, I'll put my ruler down so she can see. She will raise herself up. See how her chin is staying tucked. She didn't quite pass on that one, but she's only in 5th grade, so she has a little bit of leeway and needs to get a little bit stronger. Next area we're going to talk about is flexibility, sit and reach, and shoulder stretch. Here is the shoulder stretch. We've all done this on our roll call numbers. Okay, you stand with both arms at your side. You will reach up over your shoulder with one hand and reach up behind your back with the other hand, trying to touch your fingers together. If your fingertips touch, you passed. Shoulder stretch, excuse me. Okay, like I said, for all ages, if your fingertips touch on both sides, you pass. If you don't, you could pass one but not the other, but you need to pass both. Okay, next we have the sit and reach. Sit and reach. Let me find my picture for the sit and reach. Sit and reach, you have the leg being tested as straight, foot flat against the box. Opposite foot is flat on the ground, next to your knee. Hands are on top of each other. You stretch as long as you can down the mat. Okay, like we just talked about, opposite foot. Here we can reach 4 times, holding on the 4th time and stretching as far as you can. Here's an example of my daughter Peyton doing the sit and reach. Foot is flat against the box, opposite foot flat on the ground, hands are on top of each other, stretching as far as possible. Next you have the sit and reach, which we just talked about. And we have the shoulder stretch, touching fingers. She switches arms, touches, and she passes both. Good luck with the FitnessGram testing. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. It's your health and your future.